The Holy Gospel according to John, the 8th chapter, beginning with the 31st verse. Glory to you, O Lord. Then Jesus said to the Jews who believed in him, "If you continue in my word, you are truly my disciples, and you will know the truth, and the truth will make you free." They answered him, "We are descendants of Abraham. We have never been slaves to anyone. What do you mean by saying, 'You will be made free'?" And Jesus answered them, "Very truly I tell you, everyone who commits sin is a slave to sin. The slave does not have a permanent place in the household. The Son has a place there forever. So if the Son makes you free, you will be free indeed." This is the gospel of the Lord.
Grace and peace to you as you continue the work of Jesus here and everywhere you may go on your journey. Amen. Continuing the work of Jesus is tough work, but it's good work. In fact, it's the best work that you'll ever do. 10th graders, soon to be confirmands. You know exactly what I'm talking about here. Way back in 6th through 8th grade, that seems like a long time ago for you guys now. In 6th through 8th grade, you had all of these confirmation requirements. You could probably tell me better than I could tell you what all those confirmation requirements were. I think it was like 36 worship notes, right? Something like that. 36 worship notes, service work, home huddles, acolyting, and many more sort of confirmation requirements that you had. And then there were the fun events called Fat Nights, which I think kind of faded out when you guys were in early on. Fat Nights were PHAT, that's people having an awesome time. And that was what we called the fun nights. And now it's called Epic Nights, which stands for energizing people in church. And so hopefully that will last a little longer than the Fat Nights in terms of the name. There were scavenger hunts. There was the Jeopardy night. And there was many, many fun weeks at Luther Crest. And then in 9th grade, you endured the faith talks with us pastors. And we had fun times with that. You had meaningful times with your mentor and the fun times at the mentor get-togethers that you enjoyed as well. The field trips to Mary's place, where many of you were deeply impacted by that experience, serving 150-some homeless, hungry people down in downtown Minneapolis. And then to Itasca State Park, where we snowshoed up to the headwaters of the Mississippi. And it's amazing. There is open water there at that time of year, even in March. And the lake is ice, but then at the headwaters there, it's totally open water. And there you affirmed your baptism, just as you are officially now doing today, affirming your baptism. And so some of the youth trips that you may have been on, one of them would be the Montana trip, the memorable experience on the train that's now officially Amtrak's schedule is actually an oxymoron. If you look it up online, it's under oxymorons, Amtrak schedule. I think we were 3 hours late there and 6 hours late on the way back, or something like that. But the whitewater rafting, the backpacking, the zip lining, the amazing experience at Flathead Lutheran Bible Camp. Some of you went to the Canada canoe trip, and we had a really wild adventure there in Canada on this canoe trip. And then the other opportunities, many of you are registered for the National Youth Gathering next year to Detroit, with the Synod going to Lansing, and all the opportunities that will be there next summer. And then we have one of you going to Ecuador next spring on a mission trip opportunity. And so it's been wonderful being with you through all these experiences, and then I hope to share many more of these memorable, life-changing experiences with you in the future as well. And then about, I suppose, a month and a half ago, we had the 10th grade retreat at Camp Vanasek. And as a tradition, and part of the fun thing that we did there, is we played this game called Sardines. And Sardines is played at nighttime. One person goes out into the woods to hide, and then if someone finds them, the second person goes and hides right next to them, and they try to be as quiet as they can be. And the idea is you don't want to be the last one to find this group of people stuck together quietly in the woods. I seemed to be usually the last person as we played. I think they hid in the shed, and I couldn't find them. Anyway, and then the campfire talk with Pastor Dave and making of the stoles that they have on today. They've each handmade, as you can tell. They're very beautiful. And then, just a couple weeks ago, something amazing happened. And that was their faith statements. Folks, if you were here for their faith statements, it was just absolutely touching, top-notch. Amazing what came out of their mouths, from their hearts and out of their mouths. It was just a top-notch experience to hear what these youth had to say about their faith. And so finally today you are here affirming your baptism on this affirmation of baptism Sunday. And so Jesus says to you and to all of us here gathered as the baptized, Jesus says to all of us, if you continue in my word, then you are truly my disciples, and you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. These words of Jesus are particularly poignant today because there is an issue in especially youth culture, not saying any of you are guilty of this, but in youth culture today. I've read in 3 or 4 different spots that when interviewed, openly admit this. 7 out of 10 youth admit to lying or cheating on a regular basis. And I tell you this, not that any of you are guilty because you're all just awesome and you're totally awesome, but I say this to give Jesus' words more punch in the world today. That you will know that in the face of lies and the lies of this world, that you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. That you can rise above the lies and know the truth. That Jesus claims you as his own child. That you're not a slave, that you're a son, a child of God. That's what you're saying yes to today in these waters of baptism. And so just as we baptized Cole Allen Lund this morning at the first service as a baby, affirming his baptism, this is what you're doing today, is saying yes to your baptism. Because Christ, in and all throughout your life, not only today but all days, will raise you up to newness of life. That's what the baptismal journey is all about. The baptismal journey never ends. I mean, I'm still working on my faith. We're all still working on our faith, and we trust that God will raise us up to new life. And so this day, God calls you not as a slave. I realize sometimes you felt like a slave going to confirmation. Mom, do I have to go to confirmation? None of you ever did that, though, right? No. Parents, did they do that? No? Okay, now they're both lying. Okay. Okay. But Jesus calls you not as a slave. Jesus calls you as a son, a child, an inheritor of what he's given you. And so now, instead of got tos, it's get tos. Hey, Mom, can I go to youth group tonight? Can I go help out at the soup kitchen? Can I do these things? Can I do this? Can I go to the National Youth Gathering? It's get tos instead of got tos. And so God calls you as an inheritor, as a child of God, beloved, that you're named, claimed, and aimed for a new trajectory in your faith. And God promises you a permanent place in this house and in his eternal kingdom of heaven forever. And so here you are on this confirmation day. You're saying yes to a new future in the church and in your life of faith. This is sort of the climax of your confirmation experience, the moment that you've been waiting for. You know, you can't wait to be confirmed. This isn't the end of things. This is the beginning of things. This is a springboard to the rest of your life of faith. And so far in this message, we've mostly talked about your past, and now we're talking about now, right here, what you're doing today, affirming your baptism. But this is where the plot, like in the movie where the action guy is about to get the bad guy, This is where the plot gets really juicy. And then I tell you the title of the sermon for today. And what's the sermon title for today, everybody? Say that a little louder. To be continued. Exactly. So to be continued rolls across the screen. And then the credits roll. Okay? And here you are on this day. First of all, we got the credits rolling down like this, thanking God. There's the inspirational music in the background. And there's the credits that roll down. Thanking God and thanking your parents, your mentors, your sponsors, your friends, maybe camp counselors, various grandparents, those people in your life. And then down at the bottom, you thank yourself for all of your hard work and dedication to meeting all your confirmation requirements and getting to this point today. And that's the end of the credits after the to be continued. And so now as you continue in this to be continued world, know that you are free. You are free as a beloved child of God, and you will never walk alone. Remember that always. You are free from the lies of this world, and you are free for serving God and serving your neighbor in need. And you are free to live a life of faith with no more got-tos, but get-tos. Amen? Amen. And so continuing the work of Jesus is tough work. It's good work. But it's the best work that you'll ever do. Amen.